What is up, guys? Welcome to my very first comic book review on this channel, and as promised, I finished Isom #1, and personally, I really liked it. It was a great story. It's about this guy who works on a farm, and he has superpowers, and he doesn't really want to be a superhero. And I always kind of like heroes like that are more reluctant, and they only be a superhero because of personal matters or because they have to, and it kind of breaks the idea about superheroes where, like, if you had powers, it's expected that you should be a hero, or like that's, and I like how some people just choose not to in stories. Avery really reminded me of Hellboy. Avery's the main character of Isom #1. He really reminded me of Hellboy in the sense that, like, he didn't want to do what everyone around him was telling him to do, you know, about being a superhero, and he also just like was in it for his own personal reasons. He was kind of like Hellboy, but if he was sort of less playful and like joked around as much. He's kind of like Hellboy, but if he didn't do that as much, he was more serious. So a basic story synopsis of what happens in Isom #1. Just so you know, there will be spoilers because just a fair warning, if I plan to do future comic book reviews, I will be giving a lot of spoilers in the videos because I watch a lot of comic book reviews on YouTube, and when I watch them, they don't really tell that much about the plot to not give spoilers, but it also doesn't inspire me to read them a lot, and a lot of the stories that they recommend, sometimes I end up getting and I end up really liking them, but I'm always sort of just like kind of wanting to get it, and sometimes I never get them at all because I never get a decent synopsis. So just fair warning, there will be a lot of spoilers. I'm basically just going to do a full synopsis of the plot because I know personally that I don't mind being spoiled that much, and I still want to experience the thing, and I still want to get people into comic books because it's not a super well-known medium that a lot of people use. Like, everyone knows about comics, but not a lot of people read them. And I would like to just explain the whole story so that people can get an idea of how well the writing is. I'm going to be showing a lot of the art, and I'm also just going to praise the general experience I got ordering this, other than like how long it took to ship, but that was expected because this was the very first thing they came out with. It was also a Kickstarter of the first comic book this company was releasing, so it was expected that it's going to take a long time for me to get it, and also they had payment problems with PayPal, so I can understand that too. I'm willing to forgive that. But in terms of packaging, this was amazing. I loved that they came in like the really sturdy cardboard box. If you watched my unboxing, that's pretty standard for people shipping comic books. I've ordered from cheapgraphicnovels.com and Amazon, but I've only ordered from Cheap Graphic Novels once, but I ordered a crap ton of stuff, and half the time when I order stuff from either Amazon and the one time I ordered from Cheap Graphic Novels, something's always damaged or messed up, and it's really annoying. Like, half the things I order from Amazon have something messed up with them. Like, I just ordered Watchmen. I haven't read it yet, by the way, but the back of it is kind of creased and dented, and that's really annoying to me. And I also ordered, I believe it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2, because those comics are amazing too. I might do a review of them later, and the back spine was just completely ripped. This was great ordering, and I think it came with like a little bit of a smudge on the front, but that was pretty much it. I liked how pristine the quality was when I ordered it, and the reading experience was nice. I was pretty involved the whole time. I wasn't bored. This is what it looks like, by the way. I got cover 3 because when I found out about this was the only one that was still in stock. Moving away from the ordering experience, a basic synopsis of the story is Avery works on a farm. His sister calls him because they're worried about their other sister, and their mom's also worried. So she asks her to go look for him in the big city, and he doesn't really want to live in the city because he likes living out in the country, but he goes anyway because he's worried about his sister, and he ends up meeting with an old friend from his school that runs a bunch of clubs now, and when he asks about his sister, he just tells him to fuck off, basically, and he ends up getting into a fight with a crap ton of his security guards. And he ends up getting his ass kicked by another superpowered one because he has superpowers. It's basically just like kind of low tier super strength from what I see in this first volume. Excuse me. But they've hinted at there being more to it than that. But from what we've seen, it's just basically low tier super strength. It's still, you still can whoop a regular person's ass very easily. But there was another dude that was beating him consistently, and he gets his ass kicked. He gets sent to the hospital, and these doctors kind of like are catching on to the fact that he's superpowered, but there's no record of him. So they're kind of like, they may be setting it up for them to start like trying to chase him, to track him, to figure out who he is, because he's like not on any of the real records. And he also, whenever he gets knocked out of the fight, he runs into this other superhero that was fighting these villains, and she thinks he's one of them. So she's actually the one that puts him in the hospital because she can fly, so she just flies him up and flings him against the ground. And since he can't fly, he took some pretty major damage from that. After that, he basically just recovers, and he goes back to the nightclub, and he encounters his sister immediately before he even went into the nightclub. Luckily, he just ran into her. And he tried to talk to her for a little bit, but she was just very distant. She tried to leave, and then a bunch of bodyguards showed up, and he was too busy fighting them, and his sister got away. Then he fights through a whole huge room of people, and he beats the guy that beat him earlier, the big dude that also had superpowers. Right after he beats that big dude, Avery's like just won the fight. He's about to go into the nightclub to confront the dude that he met from whenever he was a kid, that he knew when he was a kid, to confront him about his sister, because his sister is in relation with him somehow, and she seemed like really stressed out, and they're worried about her. So right when he's about to go back to see her, the cops show up, and he has to run away. Before he decides to go back there again, he decides to visit his old friend who made his suit back when he actually was a superhero, because we find out he actually was a superhero at one point, but he decided to hang up the suit and not be a superhero anymore. But since he's going to be working to fight against this guy for a while, he's gonna want his suit back, and he's trying to get like armor put in it somehow so that he doesn't take as much fall damage. And it ends with him wearing the costume, and it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna be moving on to showing you some of the art from the book and explaining like what parts they're from. So, first of all, I just really like to praise this cover art. I really like it, but what's even better is the art on the back. This full body shot of Avery is really dope. Let me see if I can get that full thing in shot. The art throughout the entire thing is pretty good. We have like a cool fight scene right there, but I'm just going to display the art for a little bit. This is Avery just hanging out on his farm. This is the superhero that was fighting those villains that ended up throwing him into the car that put him in the hospital. This is the guy that his sister was involved with. This is the big guy that also had superpowers he was fighting. This is when he falls against the car. This is, hold on, this is right after he meets with his sister. See, this is who he's trying to find this whole time. He's only talking to her for like just these 2 pages, and then she gets away. He has to fight through a bunch of guys. This is him meeting up with his other sister that called him in the first place, and we get to meet his niece. Oh, and this is just an extra chapter about some band. Hold on. Let me go to the shot where he puts his costume on. There. That's the last one. There's a little bit extra as a side story at the end, but that's basically what the art looks like. And yeah, that's basically the plot of Isom 1. What happened in it. This binding's pretty nice. That's what the spine looks like. It's gonna look pretty cool on my shelf. And yeah, that's basically my review of Isom number 1. I would definitely recommend. It's a little pricey for first-time comic book readers, but if you're willing to give this company a shot, they really care about continuity and good writing, because one of the things that Eric July, which is the writer of this, really cares about in comic books is, well, no, something he really hates is whenever they do lazy time travel events or multiple universes where the character's slightly altered just so writers can have their own little like fanfic about the character that becomes canon in an alternate universe, or an alternate timeline because the characters are getting too old or something impossible happened that they might not have been able to beat, or somebody died that they wanted to come back. Like, he thinks that's stupid, and he said nothing like that will happen in this universe, and he's going to have a timeline of everything that's happened. Every single comic book you buy is something that happened and is set in stone, and nothing is going to be undone. Something that's really cool that I like is that he set up characters that kind of come back later, like Yara, that's what her name is, sorry. And she was the one that threw Avery against the car. And he also set up these people in these green outfits. I like that he's setting up people to come into the universe later on. That's gonna be pretty dope. And I really look forward to the next thing coming out. So yeah, that was Isom #1. And this is the end of my review. Please let me know if you want to see more comic book reviews in the future, because I love comic books. I have a massive collection, and I just love to share more about it with you. I know I mainly just do skit videos, but this is something else I'm passionate about, and I'm most likely going to do more comic book reviews in the future, so let me know what you think. Goodbye.